So good evening, everyone. Nick, you made it. Hey, we're happy you made it. So, yeah, we haven't been having our Krishna Lounge gatherings for quite some time. Everybody knows why. So yeah, we kind of unofficially started tonight, and we'll continue, hopefully, ongoing. We'll have it here on the patio. Usually we have it there in the house, but yeah, we'll have it here for some time. And myself, which my name is Balarama Das. Myself and Mukunda here, this man in the orange, bright man in the bright orange. We've been going through a series of talks. He speaks one Thursday, I speak the next Thursday. And we've been speaking on a list of, what would you say? Items of knowledge. Yes. Items of knowledge. Does this microphone work here, Tabas? Okay. This works? No? Oh, can you pass it to him? And Mukunda could tell us what we've covered so far in brief, just the name of each topic. I'm testing his memory.
Yeah. I think it went pridelessness, humility and pridelessness, ahimsa, nonviolence, shanti, tolerance, honesty,
okay.
Approaching a guru, cleanliness, cleanliness, steadiness, self-control, detachment from objects of sense gratification. Okay.
10 so far.
Yeah. What's that one? Seeing the fault, seeing the problems in birth, death, old age, and disease.
Okay.
12. 13 was detachment. Sakti. And then this is the 14th, today's.
Okay, 14th. So the list is total of 18, right? 18. So we're on the 14th tonight. So a few more, or 4 more to go. So yeah, tonight, what's the one for tonight? Can you tell us?
I'm forgetting the Sanskrit, but it's something putra dadeshu. But griheshu.
Not being overly attached to family.
Yeah, putra, sons or kids, and then
family,
home. Okay. But I don't remember the full name.
Yeah. So, all right. So that's one, not being overly attached to one's family and other. Yeah, you could say other attachments we may have. One not being overly attached.
We're also sometimes get entangled.
Entangled, yeah. Sometimes the word's entangled. So within, okay, so before I continue, just Om Gyana Tividandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshulan Maditamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my humble obeisances unto him. So within prison life, there's certain you could say experiences one has. Now, I'm not going to ask anybody here if they've been in prison or jail. You don't have to raise your hands, but whether we've experienced that personally, like been in prison or in a jail, or whether we know theoretically, we know of some certain characteristics that prison life has. Like I was speaking to someone recently, and they were telling me of their experience in jail. And they were telling me how you have to work very, very hard for very little. they were telling me that you work 7 days, or excuse me, 7 hours a day. And they have different things you could do. You could work outside, sweeping leaves and yard work, or you could what is it? Sewing. I forgot what they're doing, making sheets or something, sewing sheets or pillowcases. Anyways, there's different things. You work in the kitchen. There's certain things you could do. But guess how much you get paid every day? Anyone want to take a guess? It's all right. You don't have to be right. $1, a little more. Really close. Really, really close. $3. Yeah, $3. $3 a day. Working very hard. And so that's one element of it. Working very hard for very little. Nobody likes to do that. Last time I checked, anyways. Working very hard for very little. And your freedom is so restricted. I mean, the beauty of outside life, of non-prison life, is that we could go so many places, right? We could go to Torrey Pines. San Diego is actually a very beautiful place. But you go to Torrey Pines, you go to this beach, that beach, so many different places, right? Take a bike ride and enjoy. But with prison life, they have, I don't know, I forgot, 1 hour a day or something outside, and that's in a courtyard. So restriction of freedom, restriction of what you want to eat, restriction of so many things there. Like, anyways, this person was telling me, I was talking, and I'm coming to a point here. Some of me wonder why am I talking about prison life? But I was talking to this person, and they were saying, yeah, if your family sends you some money, or if you work and get some money, you could buy certain things at the shop there, buy some cigarettes or buy some top ramen or something, some really special treats, right? So anyways, they bought a pack of top ramen, and they were in their room, and but the thing is, they don't give you a bowl, they don't give you a spoon, and it's kind of like, well, how are you supposed to, you're supposed to eat your top ramen? They don't give you any hot water, So then this person was talking to the guard, and then they were saying, well, how am I supposed to eat my top ramen? And then the guard said, well, you just go to your sink, which is in the room that you're in. Go to your sink, fill it up, open up the bag, fill it up with hot water, and somehow eat it like that. And then, but another thing which I was very surprised, was like, wow, this is stuff they do anyways. Not healthy and not. It was actually during this time, that we're experiencing right now. But they also said something very weird. The guard said, "Oh yeah, you just fill up the sink with hot water, and you put the top ramen in there, then it's like very weird. It is not healthy." So you just imagine all of these different hardships that are imposed on people when they break the law and when they enter into prison life. Restriction of freedom, restriction of where you go, what you eat, working very hard for very little. So that's prison life. Now, why am I bringing this up? Because there's this one saint, one great teacher. He said that ordinary, materialistic family life, in other words, the life that generally people enter, whatever, they get educated, and then they get a profession, and then they try to get some nice house and have whatever, their family and their children or no children, whatever, try to enjoy something, build something up. This great saint was saying that this ordinary materialistic, hedonistic material life, he's saying, as long as one remains in that, as long as we remain in that consciousness, it's all about the consciousness, as long as we're in that state of consciousness, our houses, whether they're in La Jolla or wherever, they're just like prisons. They're just like prisons. And our family attachments and relationships and affections, take a guess what he says. Says they're just like shackles, binding us. Now, someone would say, well, hey, there's a big difference between, being in prison, right? Working and doing all these things that we're just talking about, describing. There's a big difference between that and living in a big mansion, whatever. I don't know how expensive they are. 5 million, 8 million, 10 million. I don't know, something like that. $10 million house on the on a hill, right, overlooking the ocean. There's a big difference. But this great saint, he's saying, no, there's not a big difference. One person's in, you could say, bronze shackles, or what's the other one? Silver shackles, golden shackles. They say the people in La Jolla on their big mansion overlooking the ocean, it's like they have golden shackles, right? Just more expensive shackles. So, and how is it not the same? How is it not the same? It's not the same in the sense that, or it is the same. It is the same, different, you could say, types of prisoners. It is the same in the sense that these people are working hard for very little. For example, like there was this guy. His name was John Paul Getty. I don't know where he is now, but anyways, for example's sake, we'll use something he said in his life as an example. But he said that one person asked him one time, "What's your philosophy in one word?" And the man said, "More." Now, at the time, this man was the greatest, one of the greatest, one of the wealthiest men in the whole world. He said, "More, I want more." So it was a greed principle. So he didn't have enough. Now, they also asked him, now, what do you think of on your free time? We have some free time. We're taking a bike ride, taking a walk, or taking a jog, whatever. We have some free time. We're relaxing. We think about things. It's the nature of humans, right? We're always thinking. Never stops. So he said, oh, what I think of my free time? He said, I think about how to pay my bills. Now you could think of, now this guy is like one of the wealthiest guys in the world. So why on earth is he thinking about how to pay his bills? I mean, that's what people are thinking about, whether in Pacific Beach, Ocean Beach, here and there, they're kind of, struggling to pay the rent, think about how to pay the bills. So why is this guy thinking about that? He has the same problems as somebody who's not so wealthy, is that he has bigger bills to pay. So in other words, the problems don't change, they just take on a different nature. So now this principle, working hard, very hard for very little. John Paul Getty was working very hard, whatever he was doing, trying to pay his big bills for very little. Now, what is this very little? Very little means if you're living in a big mansion, wherever, you're working very hard for very little. And if you have some small shack somewhere, you're working very hard for very little. And what is that very little? It means that a human being could only, through the material senses and through the material mind, enjoy so much. Like, how much food can a person eat? Whether you're very, very wealthy or whether you're very, very poor, I mean, the human body has a capacity. How much can you sleep? I mean, the human body has a capacity. I guess some people how much can a person have sex? Right? The capacity, I mean. So it's so it's illusory conception to think, yes, I'll be free once once I have everything materially made for me, then I'll be free. Not necessarily. Actually, not at all. But when does freedom come? Freedom comes whether you're living in a big mansion or whether you live in a shack. Freedom comes through spiritual cultivation, through spiritual enlightenment, through spiritual, did I already say cultivation? I think I did. Cultivation, enlightenment, knowledge, spiritual practices. That's how freedom comes. Freedom means happiness. Freedom means we're not just working hard for very little. We may be working hard, but on the spiritual platform, we're gradually experiencing step by step increasing levels of happiness that are not bound by the body or mind. It's not bound. There's no limit to that happiness. Like there's a limit to the happiness derived from the senses, as we all know. Like I go to India every 2 years, and since 2009. But one time I went to India. One of these times I went to India, I was invited to lunch at somebody's. How do you call it? I don't say hut. It's kind of like a hut. It was in a village because there's a property. It's kind of on the countryside, Mayapur. We're building a huge temple there right now. But anyway, so I was there visiting on pilgrimage, and we would take tours of these different sacred places within that area of land. So one of my friends from Europe, he knew a local a villager, a man there. He was also a Hare Krishna Bhakti practitioner. So he invited us to lunch. So we went there, and yeah, practically it was like some type of, mud hut, something like that. And anyways, they invited us for lunch, and we sat down, and he cooked all types of different preparations, whatever, rice and different vegetable preparations and this and that and fruit and I was just observing him. I was observing him and his mood and his, jolly spirit and his freedom from anxiety and his just overall happy nature, as well as his wife and his children were there. And they just seemed very, very happy and satisfied. Now, their satisfaction and happiness just didn't come because they were living in like a hut. Because on the material platform, you live in a hut, yeah, you'll suffer. But their happiness, of course, even on the material platform, there's some joy there too, also because simplicity brings some type of happiness. But their happiness is really coming from the spiritual platform. Now, fast forward, I only went to East Coast once. I went to New York and New York City and a few other places. Anyways, we were staying. Sorry to use myself as an example, but we were staying in New Jersey, outside of New York, and yeah, practically it was a mansion. It was a mansion, many rooms and everything very fancy. And this person was also a Bhakti practitioner. He was from India. His wife was from Russia, and they're very nice people. And I was observing him and his family and he was also happy. And my observation, he wasn't happy because of his big mansion and, nice car, or, fancy, very expensive cars and this and that. He was happy because he was living on the spiritual platform. So that is a lesson that really needs to sink in to anybody who really wants to be happy. That happiness, freedom, joy, all those wonderful things we could ever dream of or want comes not by the external situations. It comes by the internal spiritual cultivation, spiritual happiness. That's how it happens. So yeah, attachment, you could say, right? Attachment equals pain. Now, we don't exactly agree that. I don't exactly agree with that. It means material attachment equals pain. So when we talk about, when the saint is talking about, yes, family life, it is materialistic family life, materialistic life. The house is like a prison, and the family, the relationships like shackles and this and that. The person himself who was writing this, he was a great family man, you could say. He had a wife and he had many children, and he was very wealthy. He owned a lot. But he's writing this not to necessarily discourage people. Hey, everybody, hey, everybody, join the temple, join the ashram, become a nun, become a monk. No, you could do that if you want. I did it, but others do it. But that's not necessarily the message. But the message is, whatever we have, we should try to see it in the right way. Means see it in a spiritual way, in the sense that we should try to use everything for spiritual advancement. In other words, we shouldn't miss the point, not get absorbed in all these externals. Of course, it's a little challenging these days. There's a lot of distractions and things to get absorbed in, but that's what he's advising. So yes, whether we're living in a small little hut, we're living in a mansion, doesn't really matter. But what matters is our consciousness, that we're trying to develop our spiritual consciousness by spiritual practices. And in this way, we could see how we're all connected, say like a spiritual family, the whole world. Of course, it doesn't seem like that sometimes, right? With what's going on in the world sometimes, but that's due to lack of spiritual knowledge. But if people are living on the spiritual platform, then yes, the world could be full of happiness and peace and all that. So, all right. Does anybody have any questions? Yes. So do you want to speak into the mic, please? And you could just remove that beautiful mask you're wearing.
Oh man.
So we could see your beautiful smile.
So my comparison from this summary of your speech, or philosophy wise, so either you're broke and the other person is rich, but yet at the same time you could be happy at either
Yes.
one. So I think I'd choose to be on the other side, just because.
What, on the rich side?
Yeah, hell yeah. I mean, I mean, no offense to money. I think money gives opportunities, but we're all expanding beings as an energy. And I think as an expanding being of energy, who doesn't want to do what they desire? A detachment from materialistic. And I think even thoughts are just forms.
Yes.
But what's important is that sometimes when the mind sticks to something, it becomes it.
Okay. Yes. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I appreciate your honesty and your very nice comment. That's the beauty of what do you call it? Having relationships and discussions, is that we see different angles of vision. I'm thinking about my grandmother, my mother's mother. In America, it's very common, right? This whole thing about dating, right? Dating. And then maybe after many dates, you might marry someone, maybe. But anyways, so my mother, as a Southern California girl, growing up in San Diego, she was doing what everybody else is going on dates. So, and my grandmother was there, and of course she was a lot younger at that time. But my mother was a teenager or something, or early 20s. And so my grandmother, Donna, she would ask my mother, Lori, she'd see her, the guy drop her off in the car, and, my mother walk into the house or whatever. And then my grandmother, Donna, would say, so Lori, so how's that, how's that guy you did? He's a nice guy. And my mother said, yeah, he's a nice guy. He's a nice guy. And she'd say, so like, what does he do for work? So what does he do for work? And she would say, oh, well, he's in between jobs, or, he's, got some job and doesn't pay so well or something. And so in this case, she was dating a guy who had a job that didn't pay so well, or he was in between jobs. So she told my grandmother that, oh yeah, he doesn't have, much money and this and that, but he's a nice guy. So then my grandmother says, honey, it is, she puts her hand on her knee or something. Honey, talking to my mother, Lori, it's just as easy to love a rich man as it is to love a poor man. She said, you better love the rich man. Anyways, kind of your point. So whatever anybody wants to take from that. But yeah, some people, they say, okay, well, hey, if I got a choice, do I want to be poor or do I want to be rich? Like you're saying, well, I want to be rich. Yeah, there's a choice. Now, and it's okay. Yeah, people want to make a lot of money. That's fine. Nothing wrong with money. Of course, there's that saying, right? Money is the root of all evil. But I think the quote is, love of money is the root of all evil. Which means that if somebody's too in love with money, they'll do anything and everything to get it. Hurt people, kill people. Of course, you never do that, but hurt people, kill people, this, that, so many terrible things just for the sake of money. And also because of their attachment to it, like if you're very, very wealthy and then all of a sudden you become bankrupt somehow, it happens. People, they think, oh, better just, I'll take my life, they just take their life. Or just like, someone told me this, that there was a guy, there's two guys. So one of the guys, one of the men, he goes up to the other guy and he pulls out a gun, a real gun. And he, points it at him. He's pointing a gun at you, Tubbs. And he says, your life or your money? Means I'm going to kill you unless you give me your money. Your life or your money? And what would you do, Tuppus? Give your money, right? Yeah, give your money. That's what you would do. So anyways, in this case, this guy said your life or your money. So then the man with the money, he was hesitating. He's hesitating. And the guy said, no, hey, I'm serious here. I'm not joking around. I have a gun and you have a choice, your life or your money. I'm serious. So still the man was hesitating. What's up with this guy? A lot of people, they just, hand over their wallet, their purse. Okay, take it. So then the guy with the gun said, all right, you got one more time, your life, your money, why are you hesitating? And then the man who had the money and who was thinking, oh, my life or money, he said, oh, I'm thinking, whether I want to give you my life or my money, I'm thinking, very valuable to him, money. So yeah, we have to be careful. So make a lot of money. That's good. Nick, make a lot of money, or whoever, make a lot of money, but use the money for good purposes, spiritual purposes. Like our teacher, there was one great yogi, one yogi. It's like, just rewind. One yogi guru. They had a picture of on a newspaper. He was in the newspaper, and then there's a big stack of money, and he was going like this. Oh, no, I don't touch money. I don't think he was actually telling the truth, but anyways, he was saying, no money, right? Now our guru said, oh, you could take a picture of me with that stack of money. You could go like this. No, me. Because he's saying that I will use the money for good purposes, to print books, to build temples, to put on gatherings like this. I'll use it for good purposes. So anyways, those are just a few comments about money. One of my friend's mother also said, he's a monk. He's been a monk for like 40 years, but his mother told him when he was a young boy, she was encouraging him to, get a good career and all that. And he said, the mother told the son that, oh, honey, I just want to tell you something very important. Romance without finance is a nuisance. So she was encouraging me, make money. So anyways. Okay, does anybody have any other question or comment? Yes. Maybe you could speak into the mic so we could hear you.
So I see one comment in Facebook.
Can you remove your mask so we could hear you?
It's from Unil Statue.
Okay.
Life is first money byproduct. Hare Krishna Balaram.
Life is what?
Life is first money byproduct.
Life is first money byproduct? Well, I don't exactly.
He said life is first, money is by product.
Oh, okay. So life is first and money is a byproduct. Okay. Okay. Sounds good. Okay. Any last question or comment?
Glenn has a question.
Don't feel shy. Okay, Glenn.
Thank you for the wonderful class.
Thank you.
So let's say I was very inspired by your talk and I want to try to give up my attachments to my family, but I mean, in a responsible way, and try to encourage them to practice spiritual life, but they're opposed to it. What would you give someone advice to that?
But they're opposed to it. So, but they want to give up material attachments. The person wants to. So the person wants to make spiritual progress. They want to give up material attachments, but they're reluctant to take up the spiritual practice. Is that what you're saying? Okay. Okay, so you're saying there's a man and then there's a wife and kids, but the kids and wife aren't so into spiritual life, but the man is. That's what you're saying.
Let's say he heard your talk and, the whole golden shackles, the iron shackles and the silver shackles, it really made sense to him.
Okay. Well, there's different ways of going about it, but there's politically correct ways. There's politically incorrect ways of going about it. But there's a person may be kind of in a certain situation, which requires a lot of their time and energy, and they've already invested in it big time, like years of investment. But then they start getting into spirituality and spiritual life, and they think, hey, maybe I just give this up and I'll just, give up everything and whatever, join a temple or something, or become a traveling spiritual seeker or something. But generally the idea is to stick with whatever responsibilities we've invested in and gradually try to help those others, other family members and so on, help them make spiritual progress and not just give up on them. So that's a general thing, like whatever, somebody's married or they have some friend or something or this or that. So we just don't give up on them, but we try to encourage them, try to help them, and by our example, we set the set we inspire them. Try to. So that's what I would recommend, that people could just do that. Just stay in the situation. You don't have to change, but just try to develop spiritually, and gradually we'll see how the whole situation unfolds. Maybe your wife will say, this guy's a fanatic, and pack up everything and leave. Who knows? Anyways, you have to see. But yeah, the main thing in trying to encourage others is by example. Like we went on a little bike ride today, myself and a few of the monks here. And just went out. We went for an hour, but we're on our bikes driving. Is that what you say? Say driving, right? Cycling. Huh? Riding, yeah, not driving. Riding by a few houses, and one of the houses, it had this big it's like a big I don't know, what do you call, huh? No, it's like a, what is that? It's like banner, big banner. And the banner said, "Wine a little bit, you'll feel better." And he was referring to drinking wine. Wine a little bit, you'll be better. So then we're driving by and saw that banner. And then I looked to my left, and the guy was sitting there on his phone, looking at his phone. And what did he have? He had a glass of wine. So I was telling one of the other monks, I said, well, at least he's preaching by example, right? Teaching by example, drinking a glass of wine. Yeah, that's the best way, by example. That's how we inspire people. Like Mahatma Gandhi, we don't agree with everything Mahatma Gandhi stood for. We don't have to get into that right now, but some things we agree on. One of the things he said, if he had a few, he had some good quotes. One quote was that you have to be the, what is it, Glenn? Change you want to see in the world. To be the Chang you want to see in the world. David Chang. No. You have to be the change you want to see in the world. That was one. And another quote was that there won't be there's enough in the world. How does that go? About the greed one? You know that one? Yeah, there's enough in the world for everyone's needs, but not enough for everyone's greed. But the one I was thinking of, oh yeah, when Mahatma Gandhi, a mother brought her son there to see Mahatma Gandhi, and the mother told Mahatma Gandhi that, oh, my son, he just keeps on eating sweets, just like keeps on eating sweets all the time. He's just like sweets, sugar candy all the time. Can you please tell him to stop eating candy? My friend, anyways, on a side note, my friend, he used to really touched when he was a kid. He said he used to, this is really bad, but he said he would take chocolate, put it in his mouth, for the taste. He'd go to sleep at night as a kid. That was Sunil. So, anyways, this kid, he was really attached to candy. So please, Mahatma Gandhi, tell my son not to be attached. So Mahatma Gandhi said, okay, I'll tell your son, but just you come back in a week. Or he said, actually, I can't tell him right now. Come back in a week. I'll speak with him in a week. So then the mother and the son, they waited a week, and then the mother brought the son back a week later. And then the mother said, okay, I have my son here. It's been a week. Can you please tell him to stop eating candy? So then Mahatma Gandhi said, okay, my dear boy, please stop eating candy. So then the mother asked, oh, thank you very much. But why did you wait a whole week to tell him? And then Mahatma Gandhi said, oh, well, last week I was also eating, sugar. So I had to wait. So the idea is by example. So, all right. Any last comment, question? Okay. Okay. Thank you very much, Jamal from Phoenix, our old friend. All right. So yeah, thank you very much, everybody. We will be having this seems next Thursday as well, and continuing here on the patio. I think we might get another heater, a few more heaters. It's a little cold. And then if you come next time, I'm sorry if anybody was cold here. Your feet were cold or you're cold. Sorry about that. Maybe next time you could bring more jackets, but we'll have more heaters. And Mukunda will be speaking next week. And next week also we'll have like a to-go dinner. So we have a box to go. Unfortunately, this week somehow or other that wasn't put together, but yeah, we'll be having it every week after this. So all right. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Thank you for your snaps.